Sometimes when our bodies or circumstances go through a change, the mind takes a little while to catch up. Like some people who suffer from phantom limb syndrome after losing a limb, many previously overweight people still believe and still have the self-image as if they were still fat. I was personally never obese, but there were times when I had a much higher body fat percentage and times when I was not at all attractive to women. And it was often genuinely surprising to get the success with women after making changes to my body and my mind. Some parts of my mind still had to catch up. And when I did get success, I tended to blow things up by not being smooth at all. I was so surprised when things actually went well and were actually easy. For example, if I was asking a girl out that I thought, wow, this girl's really out of my league, she's so beautiful, and she said yes, I'd be so happy and celebrating that I never kept my cool. We often like to think of ourselves as simple, rational beings, but there's a lot more to us than this. I'm going to borrow a quote from Slavoj Žižek, the philosopher and Lacanian psychoanalyst. He wrote, "For decades, a classic joke has circulated among Lacanians to exemplify the key role of the big other's knowledge. A man who believes himself to be a grain of seed is taken to a mental institution, where the doctors do their very best to convince him that he is not a grain, but a man. And when he's cured, convinced that he's not a grain of seed, but a man, he is allowed to leave the hospital. But he comes back immediately, trembling. He screams, 'There's a chicken outside my door,' and the man is afraid that he will be eaten. The doctor says to him, 'Dear fellow, you know very well that you are not a grain of seed, but a man. We've done all this work on you.' And the man replies, 'Of course I know that, but do the chickens know that?' And here's the core of the psychoanalytic treatment, not to convince the patient, but to convince the unconscious mind of the truth. So how do we overcome this? How do we convince the chickens? Just being told that things are different is not enough. Well, we need to collect evidence about our new reality. What can we do now that we couldn't do before? Do it, and often. Feel how different it feels to be able to do what you couldn't before. And reflect on it. And I literally mean this. Go to a mirror, look yourself in the mirror, make eye contact with yourself for 5 minutes. Tell yourself, I love you, I'm proud of you, I'm proud of all you've achieved. And it might sound weird, but really, try this every day for a month. And if any feelings come up, and they really will, write them down and express them in whatever way feels healthy and right for you. You need to rebuild a relationship with yourself, and the only way you can do that is with time and familiarity. So take your time to build that relationship. Thank you very much for listening.